Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your regular injection of mind-numbing local news. And this is episode 372 now, and we are joined, as always, by Rob. Again, sitting just in a T-shirt. I kind of feel like in the depth of winter, will you just be sitting there in a T-shirt? I don't understand,
well,
but hello.
Hello. I mean, I was I was about to say I was speaking to Google this morning. Basically, I asked Google what the weather was. I think it must have misheard where I was asking, because apparently it said it was 18 degrees and sunny. Now, I can categorically state it is not 18 degrees and sunny in Bishop Stortford. So that was interesting. But yeah, no, it was warm yesterday, Alex. Did you not think?
Yeah, it was warm. It wasn't warm. I just didn't need the heating on, but it wasn't. I wasn't like, oh God, I'm baking.
I was out in a T-shirt yesterday.
Right. Were you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I generally was. Yeah. Also, I mean, we're coming up to a holiday. So we're going off to Wales in a few days' time. So looking forward to that.
When you say we, is that
as in the family,
including me? Oh, right, not me.
No,
sorry,
no,
you said
not,
we.
not you
right,
and me.
Just to speak.
Yeah, sorry. Right. I know.
So are you staying with people, Rob, or are you actually paying for accommodation for once?
Well, it's kind of a bit of half and half, Alex. So my stepsister has basically rented a 4-bedroom house down there, which is literally right on the beach. So there's a road and then there's the beach. She's very kindly invited us down for a couple of days. And
you're telling us this why?
Just because, something to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like you're boasting, Rob.
I haven't really had a proper holiday this year. And also, I think the listeners like to know, Alex. They need to know, in fact. It's my duty to them to let them know that I'm taking time for myself.
Talking of listeners, we haven't heard from Craig in Newport, if he still is in Newport, for a very long time. Craig, if you're there and you want to hook up with Rob in Wales, message him, let him know. Rob would love a tour of the abattoir.
Yeah, absolutely. I just like
is
to
there
say
any
I'm not going to Newport, just to put that out there.
No, but Craig could travel down. Craig could travel to see you. That's my point.
True, very true. Yes. So, Alex, your suggestion. So, on the last episode, we dipped into the rush hour crush section of the Metro, and you suggested it should become a regular feature.
Yes.
Don't worry, that's fine. We don't need to pick that up now. But listeners have been in touch on the forum to suggest names for that particular feature.
Okay. Yeah,
so Steve starts with a petition to name the Metro stalking section Crush Hour, which I thought was very good.
That's very good. It's weird that Metro never thought of that.
Well, there's more, Alex. So Face the Strange suggests Track and Trace, which again I thought was very good.
But a bit creepy.
Yeah. And Kyber suggested Commuter Suitors.
Oh, we have very, very, very intelligent listeners. I mean, those are some good ideas. They're better than anything I could have come up with. Commuter Suitors. Is that what it was? That is brilliant. So how are we going to work out which one? Let's do you could put it out there to the listeners to choose a poll.
I can put out a poll again, yeah, to see what they think. Absolutely. And I also just wanted to mention my good friend Becca, who is a recent convert to the podcast, and also was very much on board with not only the idea of whatever we choose to name it, the Metro Rush Hour Crush, but also the idea of Daft Talk. So the original idea of Daft Talk, which is obviously made up of different sections, the different features, yes, which we never did.
Board,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
Which would be great. It would be brilliant.
It would be. Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing she mentioned is, so you remember this? I think I described him as an attention seeker. The individual who claimed he had synesthesia. Synesthesia, yeah.
Which is what's synesthesia again?
The guy who said he could taste and feel names. Yeah, that lunatic.
Yeah, and words. Taste it. No, he's not a lunatic, Rob. He's got a genuine thing.
Well, apparently Becca said that she also has a friend who has synesthesia. Now, she expanded on this by saying that she doesn't have it. However, she completely agreed 100% with the description of every name he gave.
So has she got it?
No, apparently not. She just thought that those particular names seemed to resonate with her, the description he gave.
Interesting. So that's there we go. So have you changed your opinion on that man then?
No, I've just blocked it from the podcast.
Right. I was about to say.
You can't do that.
I've got bad news for Becca. We don't actually have room for any more listeners, do we, Rob? It is nowadays a 1 in, 1 out. We are full capacity, so there's no room for any more listeners. Sorry about that. That's just the way it is.
There is a waiting list, unfortunately. Yeah, we have reached our quota, which is not our decision, by the way. That's the decision of our host. We're only allowed 10 listeners at one time. Otherwise, we have to go to the different paid tier. But yeah, that's all the news.
Can you imagine if that's the way it worked? Because Rob and I, we have to pay to host it on both, and they said you can only have so many listeners, and then you have to pay more, like bandwidth.
My concern is at some stage, the way this world's going, that may actually happen. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, you're right. Are we good to go, Rob? Because I want to get cracking here.
We are good to go.
Now, Rob, you're going to have to remind me, I have a brilliant update here. The update of all updates on one of my favourite stories from a long time. Now, I covered a story, Rob, a few weeks back about a man who had taken in a Ukrainian refugee, a man and a woman, a couple. They'd taken in a Ukrainian refugee, and within 2 weeks, he ran off with her and left his family.
Correct.
Did I cover that on the regular LA or LA Extra on the Patreon?
Oh, that's a good question.
Can you check the headlines or I can try as well? Because otherwise, if I did it on the LA Extra on the Patreon, I'm really going to have to recap the story. LAPodcast. Because I think you would have mentioned it in the headlines.
I think so. I have a feeling it was on the Extra, personally.
Do you?
Yes. I could be wrong.
If it was on the... do you know what? I'll just recap anyway. I can't remember.
I think just for the sake of it, just in case.
What I would say to people then is, if I indeed did cover that on the LA Podcast Extra, and you're not on Patreon at the moment, you need to get on Patreon because that was one of my favourite stories in a long time. That's patreon.com/LA Podcast Extra, and you can sign up to become a member there to get exclusive bonus episodes. And I think we're past 30 now of those, aren't we? So if you sign up, you get access to all of those 30 episodes, plus all our Daft Talk episodes, and there are 2 of them that come out every month, and they are brilliant. Okay, I am assuming, Rob, that this will give me the recap in the story. Otherwise, it would just be poor journalism.
Absolutely.
But just to give people the lowdown, man and a woman living together in this country. They take in a Ukrainian refugee. Within 2 weeks, he literally left his family for her and ran off with her. Right, Rob?
Yeah, and it would not also just to say we also cover the follow-up story where, if you remember, he then became her full-time carer because she developed an eye condition. She went partially blind.
She went partially blind and he became a full-time carer. Right, this is from the Hull Live, this version of the story. It's by Sophie Jackson, the 26th of September 2022. Inevitably, Rob, headline, man splits from Ukrainian refugee girlfriend after 4 months together. So they did last 4 months, Rob, to their credit.
I'm delighted to hear it, Alex. It was always going to be a whirlwind romance, but I'm devastated to hear that they've gone their separate ways.
There is a strapline under the headline, which is Tony Garnett from Bradford claimed he felt sorry for his ex, but she's not for me, in quotes. And I assume that means that's the Ukrainian girlfriend.
Right.
Okay. A Bradford man has split up with his Ukrainian girlfriend just months after leaving his wife and starting a new life with her. Tony Garnett, 30, claims that he and Sophia Karkadum, 22, have broken up after 4.5 months together. And he said, Rob, he feared looking like a twat because of the media attention he got when he left his wife Lorna and when he posed in loved-up photos with Sophia. Do you think he looks like a twat, Rob, now?
I thought he looked like a twat from the moment I saw him, Alex, regardless of what the situation was.
That's it. I think I'm going to have to read the Mail Online version of this. Sorry, we're going to leave the Hull Live because the Mail Online does have... We'll go back to the comments, but we need to read the Mail Online version. So the Mail Online's headline is a lot longer. Exclusive. British father, 30, splits from Ukrainian refugee accusing her of, in quotes, irrational behaviour, not handling her drink and stabbing a wall just 4 months after he dumped his partner of 10 years and mother of his 2 children to be with her.
Right. Great.
So let's hear the Mail Online version. A security guard who started to... Actually, Rob, again, let's put on that loving music we put on for the original version of this story.
Wonderful.
A security guard who started a relationship with a Ukrainian refugee after he and his long-term partner gave her a place to live has dumped her following a furious bust-up, Mail Online can reveal today. Tony Garnett, 30, claims he has thrown out Sophia Karkadum, 22, after accusing her of not being able to handle alcohol and using a knife to damage a wall at their rented home. With her belongings now in black bin liners ready for collection, he also accused her of interfering with his relationship with his 2 daughters, saying he would always put them first. You know, Rob, like he put them first when he left them.
Yeah, when he abandoned both them and their mother. Yeah, absolutely, Alex. what a chivalrous guy, Alex, he really is.
He is. Tony fell for Sophia just days after she started living with him and his partner of 10 years, Lorna Garnett, 28, who is the mother of his 2 children. Right, I never said this back in the original when we did this story, Rob, and I'm not victim blaming or shaming at all. But I'm just being realistic. I'm just being realistic with people, and I'm being honest, right? And everyone here who listens to this knows what I'm going to say here is true. Both of them were stupid, right? Yes, you can take in a Ukrainian refugee, of course you can. But if you are a couple living together and you invite another woman into your home, you are kind of asking for trouble. And I mean that. And I think the same thing with nannies, right? If you're going to hire a nanny, you need to hire, I don't know, a 70-year-old Yugoslavian woman who looks like a shop prick. If you invite a young nubile nanny into your home, what I mean is you are kind of asking for problems. It's a risk not worth it. Do you agree with me on this, or am I way off? I just think you're asking for problems. He should still be able to control himself. Of course he could. But what I mean is like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it just feels like a strange thing to do.
This guy was obviously looking for a way out anyway, and strangely, this gave him the opportunity because apparently he was too much of a coward just to end the relationship with his wife, which in hindsight would have been a far easier than the situation he's in now. But also, did he not consider that? I mean, not to get too deep on this podcast because that doesn't work, as we know from past episodes. But I mean, this poor woman probably would have been, I would think, be suffering from some degree of trauma to come from the fact that she's from a war-torn country.
Yeah, and whatever she did, in a sense, he took advantage of her, is my belief, because she's just come from a war-torn country. She's highly traumatized, and he's after 2 days run off with her when maybe he should have said, look, even if she was the one to start things off with him, maybe he could have. I don't. Yeah, you're right, Rob. You're right.
Yeah, he's a.
So basically, he's the bastard. Yeah, he's a bastard. Tony and the Ukrainian girlfriend made headlines in May after he left his wife Lorna and moved out of the family home with his new lover so they could start a new life together. And I think we called it that he'd Hancocked his that's
correct,
because that is a Hancock move if ever there was one.
Yeah.
In an exclusive interview with Mail Online, he revealed today, "I'm 100% through with her. We are finished as a couple." Tony claimed that matters came to a head when they rowed on Saturday night while celebrating his 30th birthday at their home in Bradford, West Yorkshire. He said he ended up calling the police after Sophia allegedly damaged a wall, leading to officers attending the address. Now, I've got a picture of him, Rob. He's wearing a diesel white hoodie. He's got various tattoos on his neck and face, and it's a picture of him, Rob, like this, pointing at a wall where you can see knife marks in the wall. Yeah?
Great.
There's another picture of him standing in front of a couch with all her stuff in bin bags on it and a suitcase, and he stood there looking quite moody and mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just reiterate this, Alex. He's throwing out Ukrainian refugee. Another way to phrase that. He's making her homeless. And also they live in Bradford.
Tony told Mail Online how it'd be Tony told Mail Online how he'd become fed up of what he described as her irrational behaviour during the 4.5 months we were together. So as you say, Rob, he didn't really consider that maybe her behaviour might be quite up and down, considering she's just fled her home country in horrendous circumstances. That might explain, whatever oh God, she's just moody. He said, I can't take her abuse or anger any longer. I left Lorna and my 2 children for her. I made every extra effort I could to keep us together. I worked so hard to make this relationship work. I knew we would look like twats if we broke up because we have a media profile and all the attention that's been put on us on television and on the internet. Also genuinely felt sorry for her. She left her home in her country, which was at war, and knew nobody here. Yes, I felt and I thought I was in love with her, but there is a side to her which I just cannot put up with any longer. She gets angry and aggressive. He claimed that on Saturday night she picked up a knife and stabbed the wall several times. It really scared me. I had no choice but to call the police. That doesn't make me happy at all, but I was worried about my safety. The row happened when 2 other Ukrainian refugees, Sophia, I can't say, I'm sorry, I don't want to get it wrong, but Sophia and her boyfriend Ilya were staying with the couple. They'd moved in with Tony and Sophia after he saw a desperate appeal from them on Facebook asking for accommodation. So being the kind guy he is, Rob, he invited them to come. Go on, Rob.
Alex, he's obviously quite an impulsive guy. But why did he do this? Did he not think that maybe this would completely skew the dynamic of their relationship? Their relationship was apparently already struggling.
So what do you mean, Rob? Do you mean the guy who didn't consider that inviting a Ukrainian refugee to live with him and his wife might prove to be a problem? Didn't also consider that then, after he's run off with her, he invites new people into the dynamic to fuck it up again? What do you mean?
Again, Alex, I don't want to be victim shaming, but I think he's the problem. I'm going to say, Alex, he is the problem.
Well, Robbie said before, heavily tattooed Tony added, I've made a mistake going into a relationship with Sophia. As I've said before, my relationship with Lorna was already over. I was really unhappy. This wasn't the right thing for me. I've tried to help her, I really have. I haven't abandoned her. I've been messaging her mother to get her help with the aid of Google Translate.
Sorry. I haven't abandoned her. I've been messaging her mother. Sorry.
No, it's bad.
I really thought, I was going to say, okay, if he's messaging her, at least he's maintaining, pick up the phone or go and visit her. But why has he not contacted her directly? Probably just to say he doesn't want to speak to her.
Friend,
or she doesn't want to speak to him, I should say.
Rob, my friend, it's better than that. The sentence which your laughter interrupted is better because you haven't heard the end of it.
Okay.
I haven't abandoned her. I've been messaging her mother to get her help with the aid of Google Translate.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confused. Sorry. I didn't realise. I thought that he was messaging the mother of his former wife. You're saying that he's messaging the mother of his Ukrainian girlfriend.
I haven't abandoned her. I've been messaging her mother. I've been messaging the mother of the Ukrainian girlfriend to get her help with the aid of Google Translate. So he's saying you need to get help for her.
Alex, what is this poor woman thinking? With this man, he's obviously reached out to her in probably very broken Ukrainian, saying that he's just kicked her daughter out.
But what he says, Rob, see, he's not as heartless as you think, Rob. He actually does have an understanding of what she's going through. He says she may be suffering from PTSD, but she is from Kiev, where there hasn't been much of the war.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
do we want to digest that? She may be suffering from PTSD, which her behaviour would suggest, but she's from Kiev, where there hasn't been much of the war. So what's the problem?
It's a fair point, Alex, because the war's going on around Kiev, but not actually in Kiev. They remain largely unaffected, to the best of my knowledge. Sorry, Kyiv, by the way, Kyiv.
Kyiv. Yeah, you're right, Rob. If we were being invaded by, I don't know, let's pick a country, Germany. And London was surrounded, but they hadn't yet attacked London, I wouldn't feel any anxiety whatsoever. I'd feel perfectly fine. Yeah, no,
if they have the capital surrounded, Alex, let's face it, I'm sure London would hold out.
They camped out on the M25.
Exactly, yeah. They probably get some metal barriers around the M25. And eventually London would declare its independence as a sovereign state, which I think most Londoners will probably quite enjoy. Can
I just suggest that wouldn't it be a good idea, Rob, to convert the M25 so that there's sort of a lever somewhere that when you pull it, the road lifts up, moves away, and underneath is a trench. So if we ever needed to defend ourselves from invaders, we could have a makeshift moat or trenches to protect London. I think that's quite a good idea. It's the sort of thing the tourists might spend some money on.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go either way. I thought you were going to say that the lever then lifts up and then they just erects this huge iron wall, almost like an iron curtain, if you will.
Like that.
And so it encircles and then they can have gate posts as well. Or no, I do like the moat idea. You can have a drawbridge. As tourists want to do, they really want to take their country back, take it back
feudal
to
state.
Exactly to the 14th century.
He says, I hope she finds somewhere safe to live and is in a happier place, but she's not for me. Tony, who received a barrage of online abuse over his relationship with Sophia, said he would be looking for a new home soon and would also part with the other Ukrainian refugees, because remember the other ones who are now living with him. Yeah, he's going to also
Sorry, he's still living with the other couple?
Apparently.
Right. Do you think there's a menage a trois thing going on there? Do you think that's part of the issue?
He said that Sophia had sent him a string of messages since the bus stop saying that she loved him and begging for a reconciliation. But he said he had told her that he does not want her back, saying that he had already given her, in quotes, chance after chance after chance. Because that's the kind of guy he's, Rob. 4.5 months, he's given her plenty of time, and he accused her of ruining his 30th birthday.
Oh my God.
He claimed he told her...
you, mate.
No, Rob... He's contacted the local council and the Home Office to try and get her rehoused. Tony and Lorna first took in... Hang on a minute. There's a picture of IT manager Sophia in various sort of... One's a sort of rather glamorous picture. Another is with her wearing military fatigues, interestingly.
Okay, interesting.
Right, so Tony and Lorna first took in Sophia after applying to be part of the government's refugee scheme because they wanted to help people fleeing from war-torn Ukraine. But Tony grew impatient at how long the process was taking and joined Facebook groups where Ukrainians were looking for sponsors. He made contact with Sophia through one of the groups, and she arrived in the UK on May the 4th, and she went to live in Bradford with him and Lorna and their daughters, aged 3 and 6. Tony told how they just clicked and got on really well straight away, partly because he could speak Slovakian, which is similar to Ukrainian. That's interesting.
I didn't know that. See, I learn something new every day, Alex.
Maybe he learnt Slovakian in his unhappy marriage, hoping that he could then find like one of those sort of mail order things.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that's exactly what happened.
Oh, Rob, we're getting more details about what originally happened here. Listeners, I know this story's going on a bit. Normally I do 3 stories at the beginning. It's just going to be this one before I hand over to Rob because the details are fantastic. So, Rob, would you like to know more about the early stages of this romance?
I absolutely would, yes.
The two of them started chatting in a language Lorna did not understand, staying up to watch TV after she'd gone to bed, and they regularly went to the gym together. When it says regularly, he left her after 2 weeks. Can something be regular in such a short space of time? What they mean is she moved in and they started going to the gym together and staying up late, and after 2 weeks he sodded off with her.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Alex, they obviously couldn't fuck in the house. They need to go to the gym instead.
They both said that although they were getting on brilliantly at this time, it was no more than that, and in quotes, innocent. Yeah?
Oh, right, okay. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it was. Absolutely.
But even in this innocent period, Rob, they ended up, in quotes, finding excuses to touch and brush against each other, and things got tense in the house.
Sorry, how...
Yeah, she's doing the washing up and you accidentally sort of put your hand on her ass, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Tony said he would return home to meals cooked by Sophia, who would tell him how lucky Lorna was to have him. Lorna became angry about the situation and eventually asked Sophia to leave the family home just 10 days after she arrived. You know, in those 10 days, Rob, where they were regularly going to the gym together and regularly staying up late. So and she got angry and said, look,
reasons to touch each other. I mean, no wonder she might have been slightly pissed off by that.
But Lorna was shocked, Rob, when she issued the ultimatum, when she said Sophia's got to leave the family home. Tony's turned back and said to her, if she's going, I'm going.
Okay.
The new couple moved in with Tony's parents before finding their own place and beginning the process of applying for a permanent visa for Sophia. So they moved it. So he turned up at his parents. All right, Mum. All right, Dad. Who's this? Oh, she's my new girlfriend. We've moved out. So what about your wife? What about your kids? Fuck them.
Is my bedroom free? Is that all right? I was going to, spunk up there for a couple of weeks.
Did you say spunk up there or bunk up there?
No, I did say bunk up. I didn't say spunk up. That'd be a strange.
But that probably happened as well.
Yeah, also that. Yeah.
Tony said at the time, "I'm so sorry for what Lorna is going through. This was not her fault, and it's not about anything she did wrong." Sophia added, "As soon as I saw him, I fancied him. It's been very quick, but this is our love story. I know people think badly of me, but it happens." I could see how unhappy Tony was. The couple later talked of their hopes of getting married and having children of their own. Once Tony... I'm sorry this is going on so long, Rob, but this is the classic of classic local anaesthetic stories. Are you ready for this next sentence?
Go on.
The couple talked of their hopes of getting married and having children of their own once Tony had his vasectomy reversed.
Oh, God.
He's not even 30. He already had a vasectomy. He really didn't want any more kids, did he, Rob? What's that about?
Alex, there's only so many ways I can say this. This man is just not a nice individual. I mean, he obviously didn't care about any of the... He saw an opportunity to leave his wife and kids and took it as soon as he possibly could.
But also, do you think after the second child, he just said to his wife, that's it, no more kids, I'm having a vasectomy?
Yes, I absolutely think that's what happened.
Well, he told the Mail Online, in quotes, I want to propose to this beautiful lady. Sophia said, we're planning our life together. I want to be a mother. I want to have children. I want a visa. No, she didn't. I'm a young woman, so it can wait. A few years, and I hope that Tony can have his vasectomy reversed so we can become a family together. As their ill-fated relationship made the headlines, Tony revealed he had suffered a torrent of abuse on social media over his decision to leave his family home. He even spoke of his hopes of launching a pop career after Rob recording a rap about their experiences.
Sorry, Alex.
I've never seen Rob look more distressed.
I think I just blacked out there for a second. Did you say he was trying to establish a pop career after recording a rap about their relationship?
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Tony insisted that his relationship with Lorna was already on the rocks before he met Sophia. One of Lorna's friends told back in May how their now single mum was devastated. Story just ends. And what's interesting is they make no reference there, Rob, to the update that we know that happened, where she suffered some serious problem with her vision, Sophia, and he became her full-time carer. What's happened there?
Alex, I can't believe I'm going to ask this, but could you have a look at the comments on the Daily Mail? I'd like to know what they are.
Pearl Jenkins says, come on now, Stevie Wonder saw this coming and Ray Charles agreed with him.
Yep, fair.
Hugo said, what's below Z list?
Fair.
Wonder Waffle says he doesn't need to worry, as the most recent article says he has 2 other Ukrainian refugees now living with him. I
told you Alex has moved on, Alex, already.
Let's just see the comments on the Hull Live. Hull24 says, so she can now be sent back along with every other boatload of people we take in every day.
It is the Daily Mail to be expected, yeah.
No, I'm afraid, Rob, this is the Hull day. This is the Hull.
Oh, God, yeah.
The people in Hull, Rob, I mean, Rip and Tear, which is a worrying comment when you hear the next worrying comment name. At least he got his end wet with a bit of Ukrainian and a cat emoji. So we can interpret that as, at least we got his end wet with a bit of Ukrainian pussy.
Oh, God. Oh, no. No.
Moon Monkey says this guy has now mucked this refugee's life up. She was fleeing war, and he's presumably left her homeless. Add to that, leaving his wife and kids. A real prince.
I really want to name the episode A Real Prince.
Yeah. Belly says, my mate's in an unhappy marriage. Send her round. Wink. So kind of implying that she's some sort of prostitute. And let's just end with You Know Me Now, who says, fingers crossed, he now lives a very long, sad, and lonely life.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that.
Okay, mate, after that very long opening story, but worth it, have you got some stories for us?
I do. So I've got 2 that they're not, neither are particularly long, but I think both are entertaining nevertheless. My first story is from the Euronews.com. Which looks like it's just been lifted from the Associated Press. I think it has. It's from the 2nd of September. So only a short story. Police discover 1.4 million euros worth of cocaine inside wheelchair upholstery.
Well, that is, I hope somebody didn't take advantage of somebody who had a disability and hide it in there. I kind of want it almost to be the person with the disability themselves, unless they feign the disability themselves, of course. There's so many permutations to this, Rob.
Absolutely. You'll find out. So Italian border police have discovered more than 13 grams of cocaine hidden inside a motorised wheelchair at an airport near Milan. The drugs were stuffed inside the wheelchair's leather upholstery by sniffer dogs, authorities have said on Friday. When the cocaine was found, the man using the wheelchair stood up and walked away without assistance.
Right,
Alex,
as I suspected.
He was a fair cop. He knew he'd been caught, so he thought there's no point pretending this charade. I might just walk away.
Yeah.
As you rightly would. The suspect, a Spanish national who had asked for airport assistance to guide the wheelchair, has been taken into custody.
Okay, why did he do that? Because that was why did he do that? That was stupid. Why did he get any? Why would you do that? I'd want to just go through undetected and unmolested. Why did he ask for people to push it around? Do you know what, Rob? He's like Icarus. He flew too close to the wings. He flew too close to the sun, and he got his wings burnt.
But Alex, I think he needed people to buy into his charade. So he needed, he went out, he contacted the airport beforehand, but he also, I think this is where, as you rightly said, this is where he's been Icarus in the fact that you still have to go to security.
I understand that, Rob, but nobody didn't need to think that. Why would anybody disbelieve it? It's not often you get an airport security guards or whatever walking up to people in wheelchairs going, "Are you sure you need that? Get up, prove it."
I think what he thought is, if the fact he was in a wheelchair, he would have been given like special allowances. But you still have to go through security. You still have to go through all the checks.
Yeah, I see what you mean, mate.
Because they weren't just going to let him through, were they? Let's be honest. Because they used to have to check his passport, for example. Although this is the European Union, so there's no need for them to do that. So police said a specialist canine unit had been deployed at Malpensa Airport to check arrival passengers after their luggage on a flight from the Dominican Republic, which again might have also been a slight cause for concern, especially as the route has previously been used to smuggle drugs into Europe, if Italian financial police said in a statement. So again, Alex, not the smartest cookie there.
Right. Rob, how would you attempt to smuggle drugs? What would you do? Like, you're getting on a flight. What would your idea be? Let's just say cannabis. What would you do?
Cannabis, right? I would use the sole of my shoe, personally, Alex. So you need to hollow out a compartment in the shoe and put it in there, but then make sure there's enough rubber there so it won't be detected as you go through. Because obviously they use those full body scans now, but I think they're metal detectors, aren't they? Are they? Don't know.
What I would do, because I think sometimes being as brazen and obvious as possible would help you avoid detection. So I would smuggle it via the medium of hash, like rock. Yeah.
Okay.
You right. And like with hash, you can burn it and sort of and make it malleable and fashion it into a shape. So I'd shape it. I'd mold it into like a pendant, and I'd literally just wear it on my neck.
Mm. That's a good idea, Alex. I must admit, I think I would make it into some sort of ornate vase.
Yeah,
yeah, and then
you could just claim you've been given it as a gift, and you had no idea that it was
exactly. You could put it in a carrier bag, say you bought it in duty free.
Maybe you could fashion a suitcase out of it.
Yeah, and then put more inside. Yeah. I mean, then no, I'm going too far now. So when a dog drew officer's attention to the traveller, police first checked his luggage, which yielded nothing, then slashed the wheelchair's upholstery, discovering the cocaine. I like the fact that they just pulled him out of the wheelchair and just slashed the back of the back of the upholstery, which they didn't do. There's no indication of that. Apparently yielded 27,000 individual doses and had a street value of 1.4 million euros, which is 1.2 million in pounds sterling. Anyway, on to my next story, which is from the Associated Press, which never credits a journalist, which is fine. This is from the 20th of September. Now, this does have a bit of violence. So I just want to put a trigger warning in. So if you're disturbed by anything like that, just to let you know before I start reading. So the headline is, Beyond Meat exec accused of biting man's nose outside a game.
I didn't hear about this.
You didn't hear about this?
No, I did not.
Okay.
See, that's what I just want to say. Well, this is a warning. If you live a meat-free diet for long enough, eventually your body will crave it so much you'll just try and tear off any body part you can of anybody.
Exactly, Alex. Sometimes the body just craves meat, and this is exactly what happened. This man went feral. So an executive.
So we're saying it now, Rob. We're saying it now, yeah. Being vegan will eventually turn you into a cannibal.
Eventually, it's only a matter of time. Yeah. So an executive of a vegan food products company has been charged with felony battery and making a terrorist threat after a fracas, which by the way, I love the word fracas.
Did you say making a terrorist threat?
Yes. I don't know what that threat was, by the way. It doesn't say.
Right.
He did say he threatened to kill
threatening to hijack planes, did he?
Yeah. Well, Alex, once you've bitten a man's nose, you may as well just go all in.
Yeah, that's it. Burn your bridges.
Yeah, exactly. Or bomb them in this case. And making a terrorist threat after a fracas, so a football game in which he's accused of biting a man's nose, officials have said. So Beyond Meat Chief Operations Officer Doug Ramsey has been accused of a road rage attack outside Saturday's game between the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Missouri State Bears in Fayetteville, Arkansas, according to Fayetteville television station KNWA. So, a police report said that the 53-year-old Fayetteville man attacked another man who tried to inch in front of him in a parking garage traffic lane and made contact with a wheel on Ramsey's sports utility vehicle. Now, Alex, this escalates quite quickly.
So one's getting the feeling that he was having a bad day already. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't say who won or lost, but I imagine that maybe his team had lost the game. He wanted to make a quick exit, and this guy had obviously pissed him off by trying to cut into his lane. So a police officer responding to the reported disturbance arrived to find two males with bloodied faces. After speaking with Ramsey, the other man, and a witness, the officer determined that Ramsey had gotten out of his SUV and punched through the back windscreen of the other man's car.
Fucking okay, yeah, that is somebody who's already at unmanageable stress levels.
Yeah, the guy's kind of and smashed through his windscreen.
And this is the other thing being vegan will do. Yeah, it leads to unrivaled aggression.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just unfathomable rage, Alex. The driver of the other vehicle said he emerged from his car and Ramsey pulled him up close and started punching his face. He also bit the man's nose, ripping the flesh on the tip of the nose.
This is a frenzied attack.
Yeah,
he didn't kill him.
Yeah, I think. Well,
did he bite the nose off, or just leave a sort of? He's just bitten
the flesh on the tip of the nose.
Wow, still hurt.
He said that was enough to quench the bloodlust. No, that's not a quote. The man and witnesses also reporting here Ramsey threatened to kill. So I'm assuming that's the terrorist threat. I mean, it's not really a terrorist threat, is it? Anyway, but Beyond Meat has not responded to messages from the station and the Associated Press seeking comment. I love the fact that they've had to contact a vegan company to ask whether their chief exec bit someone's nose in a car park. It's a lovely bit of irony, Alex.
It is. Okay, Rob, this is from the Wales Online. Now, you don't have a listener story from the Wales Online, do you, Rob?
No.
Well, I don't know what our fucking listeners have been doing if they haven't submitted this to you. Maybe they have. It's by Harrison Moore and Elaine Blackburn. Now, Rob, I needed two journalists. It's a very disturbing story, and I mean that. God. It's from the 26th of September, 2022. Right. Are you ready for the headline?
I think so.
Mum left in hospital for days after dog pooed in her face as she slept.
Okay, sure.
It's the sort of story, Rob, you only get in Wales, which of course you're going to.
I mean, my sister-in-law has taken a dog down there, so there is the possibility this could happen to me.
Can I just ask, Rob, is the real reason, the surface reason is, hey, family, we're going for a trip to Wales, I want to take you away. Is the hidden reason, Rob, that the sheep cravings have just got too much?
No, Alex, I've never had an attraction to sheep, and it's also not to find my my family history or anything like that. Any sort of insinuations. I'm not trying to track my origin story. No,
but it is interesting, Rob, that you But we did. Rob, can I just say this all started off with me saying that really you were Welsh, right? And it pissed you off until you found out that actually your ancestry is actually Welsh. Right? Okay.
Well, and so what I'm saying it's a combination. It's a combination of Wales and the West Country. I mean, it's that part of the world.
That makes sense. Bumpkin. But my point is, Rob. Do you not see how you're being pulled like magnet to your ancestral roots?
But you've had a calling. I mean, I was invited.
Rob, you lie to yourself. Let's get on with the story. A woman spent 3 days in hospital. 3 days, Rob, after her daughter's dog accidentally did a poo on her face while she was asleep. I never thought I'd read that on the podcast.
No.
Amanda Gomo, 51, was taking an afternoon nap with Chihuahua Belle when the pooch became ill and had violent diarrhea.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes more sense. Because I was thinking that it was like it was a deliberate attack. But if this poor dog is, Alex, could you imagine waking up just finding there's diarrhea in your mouth? Which
Rob,
again
this
is
is bad.
Sentence I never thought I'd have to say.
Rob, this is bad. And I actually haven't had breakfast yet. I'm going to have it after this. I'm not sure I want it anymore. Mama 3 was asleep, Rob, with her mouth open, top and tailing with Belle, when the messy accident occurred and poo got in her mouth. She ran to the bathroom to be sick, but later ended up in hospital with gastrointestinal infection passed on from the pooch.
Alex, I just have this horrible... look, listeners, again, trigger warning. What I'm about to say is going to be quite disgusting.
Holy shit! Sorry, Rob. I'll tell you in a minute. I've just seen something I should never have had to see. Please speak.
Okay. Well, I mean, listeners, you may want to fast forward if this time. I just imagine that, it's already said that the dog was top and tailing with her. So the dog was on her stomach and then suddenly just projectile shitted into her mouth, which I'm assuming is what's
straight
happened.
Down her gullet.
Straight down her gullet.
I need you now, Rob, I need you now to go online. Okay. Just put in Wales Online.
God. Yeah.
Put in Wales Online, mum, dog, poo, face. Right?
Okay.
I will continue reading this story to you in a second, but I want you to first of all describe the first picture.
Okay, there's her in a hospital bed, yeah.
Yeah. Now can you scroll down to the second picture and describe for the listener?
Oh God, Alex, why? Oh, what the... Oh, Jesus Christ.
Why would they publish that?
Alex, why is there no warning on this? Listeners, it's her with shit around her face. Really watery shit. That really has turned my stomach. What is the matter with the Wales Online?
Oh, Rob, it's Wales. This is like a nice family picture. This is a nice portrait. Rob, I was just scrolling down and then I just see a picture. Why would you take a picture of it? Why did she take a selfie? Why did she take a selfie with her with watery shit all over her mouth?
Alex, if that was me, as soon as I'd woken up and the dog had shit in her mouth, I'd literally go outside and just drop that dog in a bin. That's a joke, by the way, listeners. I would never do that to an animal. Although in this case, the dog probably deserved it.
Rob, does this suggest that her first thought was, I could get in the papers with this?
Oh, God, that's a very good... Yeah, what? Why on earth would you want to make this public?
I'm going to just say
if the dog was shitted in my mouth, the last... I would not want to go to the local press to let people know that this is what happened to me.
That's a good point, Rob. Yeah. Rob, I can't get over the mentality of, this has happened to me, let me take a picture of it. Okay, right. Let's get on with the story. Amanda from Bristol said, I was having my afternoon nap with Belle like I always do, and suddenly I felt something squirt in my mouth. I rushed to the bathroom. My son was in the... Oh, hang on. She explains. I rushed to the bathroom. My son was in the shower, so before I washed it out, I had time to take a quick snap. No, that's not normal.
Why? Why would you take a picture of that?
Rob, can I just say something to you? There are people out there, Rob, who will find that picture sexually arousing. Yeah, there are people out there. It's called a fetish. It's scat, isn't it? Scat fetish. Have you heard of this? It's where your shit turns you on.
Yeah, I have. This is.
I think you heard about it from me, to be fair. She says it was disgusting. I was hurling violently for hours afterwards. I couldn't get the taste out of my mouth. Amanda's daughter took Belle to the vet where the pooch was diagnosed with a nasty stomach bug and put on antibiotics. Sorry, is that the priority? Later that day, Amanda started displaying the same symptoms as Belle, so she rang 111 who sent an ambulance to her home. Paramedics prescribed pain...
barking, wagging her tail.
How can there not be a warning for this? Yeah, anyway, paramedics prescribed painkillers for her stomach cramps and instructed her to drink lots of water to flush out any potential infection. After their visit, her symptoms became progressively worse, and 48 hours later, Amanda's cramps had spread all over her body. Amanda's mum then rang... It's an odd phrase.
Yeah.
Amanda's mum then rang 999, who dispatched another ambulance, and this time she was transported to Bristol Royal Infirmary and immediately hooked up to a drip. There, doctors diagnosed Amanda with gastrointestinal infection that had been passed through Belle's faeces into her mouth days earlier. She was kept under observation for 3 days while they rehydrated her with electrolytes and glucose. So they gave her a bottle of Lucozade, Rob.
Alex, Now, we don't know this for a fact, but just imagine if the if the picture had been taken by a Wales Online journalist of her in a hospital bed. Do you think as soon as she got into hospital and had been stabilised, she was on the phone to them?
Well, I don't know. She says I was kept in hospital the cramps got worse and worse until I could feel them all over my body, even in my legs. They then sent an ambulance a second time. I was so dehydrated from being sick and having diarrhoea that my kidneys had shriveled to half their size.
So again, your first thought was to contact the local paper to let them know.
Yeah, Rob, that's what you do in Wales. It's a small, tight-knit community. I was kept in hospital for 3 days until they flushed infection out through a drip. My discharge note, not that kind of discharge, said I suffered a gastrointestinal infection caused by a dog defecating in my mouth, something doctors had never witnessed before. So it says that on a certificate, Rob. A gastrointestinal infection caused by dog defecating in my mouth. Do you think when she took time off work, that's what she submitted?
I mean, she seems quite open about it, so absolutely.
But Rob, it's okay, because she says, I've been drinking, I wasn't far off earlier, I've been drinking 2 Lucozades a day, plenty of tea and loads of water since it happened. That Lucozade, that's not really what it's for. I'm sorry. You need to be drinking like Diarrhea or something. Lucozade ain't going to do it, right? It
literally says on Lucozade bottles not to be used to replenish after diarrhea. So this woman is clearly an idiot as well as being possibly too open.
Well, she says, I've forgiven Belle for a little accident. I still love her with all my heart, but I'll definitely be more mindful of what position we sleep in the future. And there are no comments because, Rob, people were too disgusted.
That is, without doubt, one of the worst stories we've covered on this podcast.
Okay, Rob, it's time to finish this episode of LA Podcast with a listener story, our listener story of the week. Who's it from and what's the headline?
So this week it is submitted by Face the Strange from Newsweek.
Sorry, can I just say, Face the Strange has been really active recently. He's been submitting. I mean, this is brilliant, Face the Strange. I mean, you've always been very involved, obviously, but you are properly sending us stories nowadays. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and they're good. They're good as well. That makes a difference.
They are. This is a good story, although quite dark. I forgot to mention at the top of the podcast as well. The Face the Strange library collection of his submissions is now live on the Facebook page and also Twitter.
Oh my God.
So go and have a look there. There's 22 pictures. Face the Strange did also point out, he emailed me to say that there is one notable exception from that album, which was purely unintentional, but I won't be adding it. Unfortunately, his submission for the episode contest to draw the episode, his submission hasn't made it, and it won't be added because he's dead and buried. Anyway, on with the story.
So petty, Rob. It's so petty.
Well,
okay. But the one of you getting buggered in the woods by a bear is there, isn't it?
That's there, yep. And you dressed as a clown. And Steve dresses as a well, as we know, Steve does run an Undertaker's, and it is him in his full morning suit, which is lovely. Yeah. Anyway, so the story is by Alia Silasko. From the 22nd of September. Headline is Louisiana students taken to homophobic church event instead of careers fair.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is dark, isn't it? Yes. Okay.
So thousands of Louisiana students were allegedly forced to participate in a sexist and transphobic church event after being told they would be attending a careers fair this week.
Yeah. Out of interest, Rob, when you had to do that careers advice, do you remember? I remember having to do something on a computer in my school library where rudimentary computer program because it wasn't very advanced in that day, where it gave you a career at the end of it. What did you ever have a recommended career?
I've discussed this recently with a friend, and I never remember doing this because I know they
never thought you'd become anything, Rob.
No, didn't say that. Is it the attainment test where you based on your aspirations?
There's also, Rob, there was only one career where you grew up. Farmer.
It wasn't farmer, Alex. No.
So every career was farmer or farmhand assistant, etc.
Milkman.
Sheep.
You could run a local.
Do you know what mine was, Rob? Postman. I remember postman.
You make a good postman, Alex. Yeah,
Thanks.
A man who sort of walks around the streets late at night or early in the morning and just puts things through people's letterboxes, whether they want it or not.
Yeah.
Okay. So more than 2,100 high school seniors from the Baton Rouge primary school system parish, not primary, sorry, from the Baton Rouge Parish School System attended an event dubbed the Day of Hope. I mean, which is so ironic. It's anyway. On Tuesday, according to local newspaper The Advocate, the event was sponsored by the Christian group 2911, which I'm guessing is a Bible verse, mentoring program, and held at the Living Faith Christian Centre in northeast Baton Rouge. So the event was billed as a college and careers fair. Some students and parents later said it was focused on pushing religious indoctrination than providing any real career advice. Well,
Rob,
yes,
can I just say, I believe 29:11 is a reference to Jeremiah 29:11, which says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." So exactly what these guys were doing with these students.
Absolutely. The event allegedly featured sexist lessons taught after students were segregated by gender, while transgender students were allegedly discriminated against and experienced bullying that those in charge allowed to take place. This is disgusting, Alex.
Rob, it's a day of hope. Yeah?
Yeah, okay. So Brittany Bryant, a teacher from the Woodlawn High School, said, and the mother of a transgender student who attended the event, said on Facebook that she'd been forced to endure watching over 2,000 students' rights be violated whilst acting as a chaperone to the traumatic event. So inside the church, boys were instructed to go inside while the girls were left in the church for girl talk. So
that's what girls like to do, Rob. They like to talk. I mean,
talk about boys and not girls, because that's wrong. My transgender child was discriminated against for walking out. I stayed and listened to the discussion. They talked about rape, forgiving the offender in life, suicide, prayer leadership, and many more darker conversation topics. We had females in the bathroom crying due to the topics of discussion. Alex, how on earth has this been allowed to take place?
Rob, this sort of stuff goes on routinely in America. There's so much stuff. There are like these weird places where, honestly, Rob, it's still like it's crazy. It's very disturbing.
Just to conclude this story, so Day of Hope, more like a day of trauma, commented parent Bonnie Kursk.
but you wouldn't have wanted to go. You wouldn't have wanted to go, Rob, would you, if you called it Day of Trauma?
No, that's true, Alex. Yeah.
Come along.
Day of trauma, people are going to be put off.
Yeah.
You prayed over my children, not like that. Told me she should remain abstinent, talked to her about suicide, and told her that if she's being abused in a domestic violence situation, that she should forgive her abuser, even if he's not sorry. Then she was forced to register to vote and given a slice of peach in exchange for doing it, which is illegal. Rob, I signed a permission slip for the College and Careers Day, she continued. What I got was indoctrination and trauma.
Yeah.
Shocking, Alex. Absolutely shocking.
I'm speechless. You did say it. I was expecting a humorous, sort of light-hearted end to the episode. But no, Face of Strange.
Weird.
You really took it to something quite disturbing.
Quite dark, yeah.
Well, you really did make us face the strange, which I guess is his raison d'etre.
Absolutely.
That brings us to the end of another episode of LAPodcast. This was episode, still is, until we get to the end of it, episode 372. We can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LAPodcast. We're on Twitter at LAPodcast. We're on Spotify. We're everywhere. You know the drill. Leave us a review, subscribe, do all those things. But look, if you're not on the Patreon yet, go to Patreon, patreon.com/LAPodcast extra. Don't mean to talk down to people like they're idiots. I can talk fast sometimes, so I'm slowing it down there. And you can sign up there to become a member, and you'll get access to our exclusive episodes, which can't be found anywhere else. They're called LA Podcast and Extra Jab, and there are already 32 or something like that of those up on there. And you can sign up, and you get 2 episodes a month, plus the back catalogue of all the existing episodes. And we stuck all our episodes of Daft Talk on there. Wasn't ill-fated, because it was brilliant, but unfortunately our source material got shut down when Yahoo Answers decided to shutter the business. And we're going to be back in a week's time with another episode of LA Podcast and Extra Jab. That'll be on the Patreon, and a week after that is episode 373, Rob, of the regular Local Anesthetic Podcast. We've really enjoyed your company, as always. Take care, have a good week, God bless,
and keep it local.
Local Anaesthetic Podcast is on Patreon, so go to patreon.com/LAPodcast Extra for access to our exclusive bonus episodes. You won't find them anywhere else. Here's a preview of what's coming up on the next LA Podcast, An Extra Jab. Man tried to check Queen was in coffin, court told. He planned to write to the royal family, and if they did not reply, he planned to go to Windsor Castle, Buckingham Palace and Balmoral, the trifecta, Rob, to try and speak to the Queen. The court heard Mr. Khan said if he was unsuccessful, he, in quotes, would have to trespass in order to try and make contact. And when asked how many times he would try, he replied, "As long as I'm living."
I mean, if he keeps trying, I'm assuming that his life may be dramatically shortened, but anyway. Hundreds of kilos of frozen chicken dumped in North Hertfordshire village in an abandoned caravan. I don't know what it is. There's something quite bleak about it. I love it because I imagine this very picturesque village with just this pile of rotting meat outside it.
Man caught on video urinating on ex-wife's grave almost every morning, New Jersey reports say.
Reminds me of a joke.
Do you remember what the joke is?
So two men in a graveyard. One says to the other, "Morning," and he replies, "No, just taking a shit."